we're legally under Adam, the first Adam, until faith brings us into the second Adam. So you have to have both unions. And so Thomas Goodwin is one who you want to read on the eternal union with Christ and the temporal union that we have once we have faith. So you need both. It's like that election that makes the second one possible. Why faith is essential for us to be justified. We're not justified from all eternity. John Gill believed in eternal justification because of this. You need both unions, legal union, eternal union, and you need a spiritual union, which comes by faith. And so John Gill held to eternal spiritual union and thought eternal justification. So he taught eternal justification, that we're always justified. We were never under the wrath of God. And by faith, we become aware that we're not under the wrath of God. We were never the children of wrath. But you already know verses that contradict that, Ephesians 2. So I reject eternal justification. And Thomas Goodwin is the one who, I think if you want to read this in volume 7 of his works, that on his doctrine of justification, holds to justification at the time of faith. Think of the old form of marriage when you had betrothals. It's similar to our engagements, but it was more legal. We can get engaged today and get out of the engagement and there's no legal ramifications. People break engagements all the time and no one goes to court over it. But a betrothal in the Old Testament times and New Testament times was a legal transaction. Now you weren't married, you were restrained from sexual intimacy, you weren't to start a family yet, but there was a legal transaction to do with the father-in-law. You brought your father-in-law this gift, and they would make an agreement with the father. Sometimes the woman was irrespective; she was involved in this, but it was the man and the father who made this legal transaction. When I was in Kenya, I saw this happen, and they still do this. It's mostly symbolic. You go to the potential father of the bride that you want to marry, and they brought Pepsi and 2 goats. Oh, that's pretty cool. But you would have it as endowment or dowry that you would give. And once you did this, you're locked in to the marriage, and you don't break it. And if you break it, there's ramifications for it. It's almost a divorce. And so I think that's a better picture of this. We were espoused to Christ in eternity past, legally. Now, we weren't sexually intimate, and I hate to use that word, but we weren't married yet. We weren't justified. We weren't physically or spiritually united with Christ. That comes by faith. But it secured all that in eternity past. And so it's a legal transaction. But it not only just works with he was made sin for us. It goes on to say, and we were made the righteousness of God in him. His righteousness is imputed to us, and he takes care of, obviously, our sin by his active righteousness and by his passive death. And his righteousness gets to us. He pays the full debt, and we get all the righteousness, which gives us the foundation of justification for the rest of our salvation. And the key phrase in that verse, Ephesians 2 Corinthians 5:21, is that he made him sin who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him.